Welcome to YVT on the Road, where we are at FSB Bootcamp in the Southeast, where businesses go to thrive.
Hello and welcome to YVT on the Road here at the FSB Bootcamp. I'm joined by the gorgeous Melody. Melody, welcome to the studio.
Thank you.
So Melody, tell us about who you are, what you do and your business.
So I'm a psychologist by training, a business psychologist, which means I don't get you to lie down on my couch and tell me about your childhood, although that does come up frequently.
I feel like these chairs are like, okay.
We can do it now if you want. You could definitely lie down on these. And I work with businesses. I help them improve their performance through developing their leaders and their teams. So it's all about people for me.
Incredible. And this is so important in the world, right? Is that we walk around thinking we know how to be a leader, but the people we're leading are always so different. So actually understanding that is really important.
Yeah, and I think, one of the things that we are really noticing at the moment is how technology, AI is becoming such an important part. I mean, how many times has AI been mentioned today already? It's such an important part, and it's kind of the antidote to the robots taking over, is that we need to be more unapologetically human. We need to really understand what makes people tick. How is the world of work going to be different in the future? And I really work with people about understanding their nervous system and how their nervous system shows up as a leader, but also in the people that they lead.
Interesting. So how did you get into this role?
Well, I've been a consultant, worked for a global consultancy I've been consulting for about 25 years. About 4 years ago, I branched out on my own, and I'd been coaching people for a really long time. I kept getting stuck and frustrated because I couldn't take them deep enough to where they needed to go, because we deal a lot with surface level things. We deal a lot with the behaviors and the problem solving, and it's helpful, but there's always some underlying stuff. There's always some underlying stuff about where we get in our own way, and it's been there ever since we were children. We just don't know it. And I was really frustrated with that, and so I went and did some additional training. I did like 3 years training. I kept having to go to Italy, which was awful, absolutely terrible. Yeah, ate a lot of pizza, drank a lot of red wine. But in that, I really learned about the body and the nervous system, and how actually if we paid more attention to that, we'd be much more successful.
That's really interesting. And what have you seen that difference of diving deeper doing for the people you're working with?
It's freeing for them. So a lot of the people who I work with have known for a long time that they've got certain things, and it might be that they're a perfectionist, or it might be that their confidence they're struggling with. It might be that they're just feeling kind of frustrated. Quite a lot of people will work with me and they think, they've kind of got to where they thought they wanted to get to, and they're like, is this it? Whose life am I even living?
Right.
So, it's often people get a bit stuck and they get a bit frustrated, and they kind of often know what the problem is, but they don't know what to do about it. So I help them figure out ways of actually doing something about that thing that's making them get stuck.
And do you have people come to you that sort of, you say like they say they're a perfectionist, but actually when you dig deeper, it's like, no, you're not. Like, this is your problem. Actually, you think that you're portraying that, but actually that's not the issue.
Yes.
This is the issue over here.
Yeah, absolutely. So people will put a label on something, and maybe it's an incorrect label. But also, I think sometimes it's not that they're not a perfectionist, but that's not all they are.
Right.
And I think often so I will talk about having a perfectionism pattern, rather than being a perfectionist, because when you start labeling yourself like that, it kind of becomes your personality. That's not who they are. That is part of who they are. And what I do is help them explore who else is in there. We've all got that internal dialogue.
Oh, I've got many.
Yeah, exactly. Many people within us. And so my work is about helping people understand who are all of those, what are those different parts of us, and sometimes let the quieter parts have a louder voice.
Yeah.
So I often so I'm writing a book on this called Resonance at the moment, and I have an image in there which is a bunch of people in a minivan.
Okay.
And it's like the perfectionism maybe is driving the minivan. It's got a very loud voice, it's in control, it's driving the car. And, you know, you've got someone sat next to it who it may occasionally defer to and allow them to read the map. But there's a whole bunch of people in the back who are being ignored. And so my work is about, well, who are these people and what have they got to say? Because they can be just as valuable as the people who are usually driving the car.
Now, you've touched on the fact this is in your book. This is actually your second book.
It is, yes.
Resonance. And that comes out when?
It's not coming out till March next year, which feels like forever away to me. But I'm mid-writing at the moment. It'll be finished by the end of the summer. But that's how long it takes then. Another 6 months after that for it actually to hit the shelves. But it will be available for pre-order very soon. I've just got the ISBN number this morning.
Oh, congratulations. Exciting times ahead. So that's March 27 that's coming out. You said it's your second book. So what was your first book then?
Yes, my first book's called The Inclusive Team, and it's about how do you build high-performing and inclusive teams. So it works on the idea that you need to be inclusive in order to build a high-performing team, but it's not the only thing. And there's lots of other things like building trust and getting people aligned that all kind of form to build a high-performing team. And it's full of exercises, it's full of activities that people, it's a kind of you can pick it up and do it for yourself kind of book.
Exciting. And we'll get the links to where that's available as well, so we'll put them in the show notes and the pre-order as well for Resonance when that comes. I notice a lot when people use language, and I'm very mindful when I use language, is I never want to be a manager, I want to be a leader. Is there a difference, and what is that difference?
Oh, that is like the age-old question.
For my own personal
Yes, yeah. So I think you could be a manager and not a leader. I don't think you can be a leader and not a manager.
Interesting.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I think management is a certain series of activities, and I think often we think of things like, you know, do you do good appraisals, like management skills?
Right.
You know, do you do good appraisals? Do you give good feedback? Do you take care of your people? I think when people think of leadership, they're thinking more kind of setting the vision, bringing people with you.
Yeah.
That would be how I would differentiate. But to be honest, people often use them interchangeably. I think people tend to look down on management, but I do believe in order to be a really good leader, you have to also be a really good manager.
That's really interesting, because I've always sort of said, like, I want to be a good leader. I'd never want to manage people. But ultimately, like you say there, appraisals, things like that is part of the skill set you need to be a good leader, because without knowing where people are, how can you lead them? Exactly.
And I think what you're saying there is not so much you don't want to manage them, you don't want to micromanage them.
Yeah.
You don't want to be leaning over their shoulder, pissing them off, just...
empowerment.
That's exactly what it's about. It's about empowering them. But it's also about making sure that they're going in the right direction, because there's no point in having somebody who's empowered, who's going off doing their own thing.
Go for it.
You're like, they've gone over there and I wanted them over here.
Yeah.
So alignment is one of the most important things that you can do as a leader.
Incredible. So what challenges are you seeing at the moment with this sort of working relationship people are having?
What I'm seeing at the moment is an absolute blind rush towards the value of AI without any real consideration of the consequences of that. And I think there are many consequences. not least that AI lies.
A bit.
So we can't necessarily trust, therefore we have to check it. Checking something or somebody else's work is not naturally what many people are good at. I don't think we're properly reimagining what work is really like. I don't think we're really thinking about the consequences of things like, I've noticed, I use ChatGPT and Claude, they're very sycophantic. They'll always tell me that I'm right.
Oh, always.
And I've noticed a change in the language, and it says things like, I was thinking, and I've been thinking about this for a while. And I'm like, no, you haven't. I say it to it. No, you haven't, because you don't think for a while. You think in that moment when I've asked you a question. But I think there's I think we're sleepwalking into some potential real problems of how humans and technology interact, and the consequences of our brain, of our thinking, of huge wholesale jobs being wiped out, the societal impact of that. There's so much that I think is one of our, and I don't see it being discussed anywhere near enough.
No, and that's really interesting, because like we all joke about, always say your please and thank yous to the AI bots, just in case, you know, I want to be the polite one when they all take over the world, that sort of thing. But what I also notice, like I still insist on it, because I notice when my children text and send messages or speak to people, when they can't see them, the P's and Q's can disappear. Yeah. And I think that's what we forgot, because we're talking so much to a bot that we forget when we then write an email, there is a human at the other end of that.
Absolutely.
And again, I'm sure from your perspective, with leadership and management, that sort of thing, is you need to remember the team you're managing is real
Exactly.
humans.
And you've just picked up on something that I think is really fascinating. I was listening to a podcast by Esther Perel, who's a relationship therapist, very famous one. And she did an interview or a podcast with a guy who'd fallen in love with his chatbot.
Right.
And people kind of laugh and scoff and think, oh, what an idiot. But to be honest, I think that's a very probable thing that will be happening a lot. But she said something so interesting at the end. She said, I can't compete with a chatbot, because a chatbot is always on. It always says what you want to say. It just reflects back to you your thinking. And if we get used to that, what impacts that can have on our human relationships? Are we going to prefer interacting with robot colleagues because they're much more amenable than our real colleagues? And I think that, you know, the whole of my inclusive team book is about how do we work together with difference. And I'm worried that we'll start going the other way, and actually it's much easier to work with these people, this technology that does as we say, and will we stop wanting to work with humans, because human relationships are so much more complicated, they're so much more difficult.
Yeah, I don't want to be challenged. I want to be told I'm right all the time.
Exactly.
And actually, like you say, that's not just an adult thing. That's going to start hitting the youth of today and growing up as well. So really interesting. Yeah. Love that. I could dive so much deeper, but and I'm sure people will have interesting comments and thoughts on that as well. So please do write in and say. I mean, what are the positive things you're seeing within leadership and that at the moment?
I think, like I say, the book Resonance is about the nervous system, and I'm seeing a lot more interest in things like that, in really understanding people. I'm seeing more interest in wellness and making sure that we don't burn people out. And I think the more that we can, you know, if there's a real positive about AI, it's that maybe we can all go to a 4-day week.
Oh, yes, please.
You know, maybe it will free us up to do the things that we really want to do. And I think that is a really positive direction. If we can, you know, as long as a 4-day week is that we're still being paid, you know, for the equivalent of 5 days.
Yeah.
You know, we don't want it that everyone goes to a 4-day week because that's a way of saving loads of money, because, you know, and then everyone's, you know, materially worse off. But yeah, I think that's quite exciting, the idea that we could fundamentally redesign what does it mean to work, what does it mean to be human, what does our life look like. I think that could be very interesting.
Incredible. Melody, thank you so much. It's been a fascinating conversation. I truly believe I could keep talking to you about this for hours, but we haven't got the time today. We will get your previous book linked up on there and the upcoming Resonance for you as well. And if you've got any thoughts, you're a leader and you're looking to better your management style, better your leadership style, then please do get in touch. We will put all of Melody's details below in the description and show notes. Thank you again for joining us.
Thank you.